In today's English pronunciation lesson, we're going to look at consonant clusters that explode in your mouth. These can be difficult as consonant clusters are sequences of two or more consonant sounds with no vowel sound in between. So the mouth can struggle to adapt to the quick change of sound. But don't worry, as I'm going to show you how to do it. So come with me. So, what are these exploding consonants? They're the stop consonants and they explode from your mouth because the sound is made by completely blocking the flow of air and then releasing it. They're also known as plosive consonants. So let's look at these two stop consonant groups. The unvoiced consonants, p, k, and t, and the voiced consonants, b, d, and g. We'll start by looking at the unvoiced consonants in the word kept. Copy me. Say kept. Kept. For the p, bring your lips together to block the air completely. Then after a small build-up of air, let it explode, but do not use your voice. Like this. P, p. Now the t. Place the tip of your tongue on the alveolar ridge, making sure you completely block the air with the sides of your tongue against the sides of your teeth in your upper jaw. Now build up the pressure, then let it go. Not using your voice like this. T, t. Now let's put them together. Now this is a bit more difficult because when saying the consonants separately, there are two explosions of air. But when you say the consonants together, you have only one explosion of air at the end. This is because the lips close for p, like this. No sound. The air is blocked. Hold the p or hold the. Then before the air is released, just before the lips open for, the tongue and tongue tip blocks the air as it is placed on the alveolar ridge, ready for the t. Allow the build-up of air, then release all the air for the t. So, in other words, the closure for t is made while the closure for is still in place, like this. Now speed it up like this. T, t. Say kept, kept, and slept, slept, and crept, crept. You can't hear the p sound, but it's important to close your lips for p and hold the air until the explosion for t. Do not say ket or slet or cret. You won't be understood and you'll get those funny looks. Now, say these ed past endings of verbs with the same sound. Stepped, striped, slipped. The reason the ed is pronounced this way, yes, it sounds like a T, is because the verb ends in an unvoiced consonant. Now, let's look at the verb ending kt, which are again stop consonants. So, first of all, let's say k. The back of the tongue makes the closure by touching the soft palate at the back, then release it like this, k. Now let's say kt. Once again, there is only one explosion at the end for t. So, First, the back of the tongue makes the closure for k. Do not release the air though, so it's. Then the tip of the tongue makes the closure for t. Then the back of the tongue is quickly lowered without causing an explosion. And finally, the tongue tip is lowered and air explodes out completely, like this. Kt, kt. Now speed it up. Kt, 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 kt. Now say act, fact. So now on to these ed past endings of verbs with the same sound. Ready? Repeat after me. Smacked, striked, looked. Again, the reason the ed is pronounced this way is because the verb ends in an unvoiced consonant. Now let's look at voiced stop consonants. B, D and G. Say B, blocking the air with your lips, then release the air using your voice and say B. And now G, by blocking the air with the back of your tongue on the soft palate. Then release it using your voice. G. This is the same as for K, but G is voiced and K is unvoiced. Say K, G, K, G. Now G, G, G. Now say D, by blocking the air with your tongue on the alveolar ridge, then releasing it using your voice. This is the same as for T, but D is voiced and T is unvoiced. Say T, D, T, D. Now D, D, D. Now let's practice word endings B and D as in robbed and G and D as in dragged. It's exactly the same process for bd as gd. So first, there is no explosion for the first sound, only a gentle explosion for the d. Like this. Robbed. Dragged. Can you hear what happens to the d? Listen again. Robbed. Yes, it sounds like a T. It sounds like a T. Do not say robbed or dragged. Say he was robbed or they dragged him. It's important to be sure that the first consonant is properly formed before you take up the position of the second. For example, if you say drad instead of dragged, you will get those rather strange looks again and be completely misunderstood. Now, let's practice these verb endings with g with an ed ending. Dragged, drugged, plugged. Remember, there's only one explosion at the end. Do it again. Dragged, drugged, plugged. Now with b. Grabbed, robbed, rubbed. Again. Grabbed, robbed, rubbed. And now here's some more with p. Dropped, escaped, wiped, slipped, helped, jumped. And now words ending with k or a ck, like this. Cracked, locked, knocked. Now, there's one important thing to remember. In connected speech, when some of these consonant clusters are linked to a word beginning with a vowel sound, the t sound changes to a d, and it sounds like this. Dragged away, grabbed on, robbed everything. Can you hear it? Dragged away, grabbed on, robbed everything. This usually happens when verbs end with voiced consonants, n, g and b, before the past ending of ed. Now, let's practice words with stop consonants in the middle of words and between words. Ready? Actor, factor, lecture, subconscious, shop girl, thick piece, black dog, bad cold, quite good. Now for a practice tongue twister. The actor was dragged away, drugged and robbed while his black dog slept. Again. The actor was dragged away, drugged and robbed while his black dog slept. Hope that was useful and hope you've learnt something new. For more help with your English pronunciation, just go here. Until next time, love and peace.